Okay, so let's get started. So welcome to Because You Can't Fix What You Don't Know Is Broken. So before we start, who's using Eclipse Mars already? Okay, who's not? What are you using? Luna, okay. Well, so then let me introduce myself. My name is Marcel Bruch. I'm the I'd like to add a new character to the plot. So I guess almost everyone in the room is an application developer, and maybe there's a product manager. I now want to one product manager. And I want to show or give a spotlight to one minority that we often forget when we do all the hacking and the coding stuff. That's your user. So the guy who's actually using your software and has to work with it hours per day, 8 hours, 10 hours, or whatever, and he's actually suffering from the mistakes that you do. So to make this more clear, imagine the situation. You are an Eclipse committer, and you're working for 12 months on a pretty exciting new release. You are extremely cheerful because you implemented so many cool new features. And what you do is, every weekend, every last week in July, you send that new release, you ship it, and you send it over to the user. At the same time, the user is extremely cheerful and excited to experience, or to get that new experience and try it out. But imagine what happens. He's downloading the software, he's trying it out, and the first thing that he sees when he double-clicks on the Eclipse icon is, bam, a crash. Well, this is not that kind of experience you want your user to get the first time he downloads your software, right? Can you feel the pain of that guy? It must look like this somehow, right? So now you can feel the pain of that user here who got this crash report in the very beginning. The problem here is that that guy is usually miles, 100, 1,000 miles away from you. So you as the software developer, the application developer, or Eclipse committer, you don't get that phase, you don't see that. But what you do is, literally, you have this baseball bat, and you get them, well, it hurts. It really hurts. So the problem now is, in order to fix that thing, that user would have to go to the log files, figure out what's going wrong, and then go to Eclipse Bugzilla, create a new bug report, find the right project which is causing that issue, and put that there to the right committer hands. How many of you already created a bug report at Eclipse? Well, many more than I expected. Who's not a committer? Okay. So, but even then, you know, more than 5 bugs. Okay, it's getting... So the tragedy with these manual error reports is, well, let's assume that you shipped that software with the bug in it, and then you got the first user who's experiencing that issue, and a second, third, and maybe even the fourth one, and then maybe the fourth one actually reports that issue to you. So you got 4 users already having that issue. In terms of Eclipse, it might mean 4 million users or 400,000 users. And the fourth one actually says, OK, there is the bug. Lets you know about that one and gives you the ability to fix that issue. This in itself is great. The problem now is, in the meanwhile, you got the service release 1, and the software already shipped, so we have to wait another 4 months until we get the next service release out. So we get a 5th, the 6th, the 7th, the 8th user who's still suffering from the very same issue before that we couldn't fix just in time because we just noticed it too late. And this is weird. What you would love to see as a software developer is a way where the very first user who's experiencing that issue lets you know about it. And then you have still a few users who are experiencing that issue, but you have more time than before to really fix that issue. So what happens is you got to the service release, you have the time to fix it, and you can ship that fix much earlier than in the previous version. Then you will still have, well, the remaining users don't suffer from that problem, and so, well, you still have users suffering from it, but it feels a little bit better than before, right? So he looks like this, not that excited, but he's not too happy, but he feels okay. So you got some plasters over his face, but, well, it's getting better. And that's okay. at least much better than before. So the question now is, how can we do that? And the answer to this is what we introduced in Mars, an automated error reporting system that allows you as a user to report issues that you experience in Eclipse directly to a web system, and where we do all the heavy lifting, the dispatching, sending these error reports to the right projects, to the right people, in order to allow them to fix that issue. So I want to give you a short demo of what it actually looks like. So for those that are still on Luna, so actually, who was using it already? Okay, so then it will be a rather short demo. So you got this fresh Eclipse installation, and then I push some buttons like, for instance, that one. And what you see here is you get that the first time an error is logged in Eclipse, you get this notification saying, oh, wait, there was an error. Do you want to help Eclipse to become better? If so, please press enable. And if you do so, you can have you can enter your email address, for instance. You don't have to, but this email address, for instance, allows us to get in touch with you later. So, for instance, if the bug was fixed, we can send you an email. If you have questions about something, how to reproduce it, we can send you an email. So we have a way of communicating with you and fixing issues more easily than before. I will just enable it, and as soon as I do that, I get another pop-up saying, okay, now there's actually an error that was logged. And it gives me the ability to send that error right away, or allows me to review the details. And the details is basically a stack trace and some information about your environment. So the stack trace in here, you've seen you can anonymize things like stack traces which are not from eclipse.org. And you get messages, we know which platform you're working on, Mac OS X in that case. And we know which bundles are involved in that stack trace, which is tremendously helpful because now we can nail down the environment you're working in, and we actually know where this error occurs. So we don't have this back and forth asking users, okay, tell me, which version of Eclipse are you actually using? What is the bundle version that you have? What is whatever? So because this is all already included in here. So if you do so, maybe let's send that error report and say, what did I do? I just pushed a button. That's it. Then you can send it, and then you get some immediate feedback saying, okay, so this was now sent to eclipse.org, and you get a feedback saying, wow, okay, this issue is a new one. I haven't seen that before. And, well, I will get to that, so we have different replies that you can get here. If you like, you can still visit your submission. Maybe not now with that network in here, let me see. Okay, you can review your submission, but it's basically just the stack trace and some minor information about you. Okay, so that's it more or less about the client side. So there's really no big thing, right? It's just basically a number of pop-up notifications and a send dialog, and that's it. On the server side, it looks a little bit more complex. Yeah, but sorry, getting back to the track problem. So as I said, we have different ways of informing you if a problem is actually new or not. So as you've seen before, if it's new, we say, okay, this is new, we need a committer to review that item. And so it's currently on hold until someone reviews it. But also committers can specify that they need information from you explicitly by taking it out of the error reporting web database and putting it into Bugzilla. So as soon as they create a bug report out of it, and give it a status of new, Eclipse committers say, okay, I'm not able to reproduce yet, please help me. And if they do so, you get a notification saying, your assistance is required, please provide us some steps how to reproduce that issue. At the same time, if a bug is fixed, you get the same information saying, okay, you run into a problem which has already been fixed, so maybe just update and all your trouble is gone. Committers may also say, okay, I won't fix because this is not a real severe issue, or they say, okay, this is just a log message, just ignore it, and then, well, nothing would happen here. So what you see there is you can't just send data to eclipse.org and allow us to fix issues. You also get the feedback if something has changed or fixed already, which is a big plus for you because you know that you don't have to suffer any further. So the next question that comes obviously to mind is, do we really send every error that we get in Eclipse? Oh, well, I guess I would be webmaster's darling if every error we see in Eclipse would be sent to eclipse.org web service. So of course we do some kind of filtering. So the error reporting funnel is basically a multi-layer filtering, saying, first of all, we have a structural filtering, saying, where we ensure that actually the error, or the event that has been logged is actually an error event, and was logged by an Eclipse plugin. If it's some third-party plugin, something from your company, whatever, we don't send that to eclipse.org. And we just care for Eclipse plugins. The next thing is, we have, say, a personal filter or personal history where we collect or store the information what you already have sent before. So you won't get the same pop-up asking you to send the very same error over and over again as soon as you send it once, or have seen it once. And then there's something that we call the global history. So, or in other words, did anyone else send that error before? So it doesn't make sense for Eclipse committers if we have thousands of users sending the same error report over and over again. So at some point, we can say, OK, we have enough data. We know that there is a problem. We certainly are able to reproduce it somehow. We don't need you to send it anymore. And in that case, you wouldn't get any notification. It would be just silently discarded. At the same time, since we have that global history, we know about the state of an issue, we can also tell you that issue is maybe already fixed, or if you have hidden a problem that needs your full attention. So if you see one of those pop-ups here, yeah, it's time for you to either update or go to the bug report, so you get the link to Bugzilla tickets in here, and then you can go there and can provide the missing information and help us even more actively than before to fix that issue. And then, of course, there's the last step, the review itself, where you can actually look if you really want to send that data in here. So to those who already send or share the data, who has privacy and anonymizations enabled? Who fears that error messages have private data in there? People don't, or people do? Who has it activated? OK, well, let's see. So there are a couple of people that say, OK, privacy enabled or yes or not, but they send every error they experience in Eclipse. So they don't get even that dialogue, they just send it right away. Say, OK, I have a problem, you take care of it, I want to help, but I don't want to spend any time on it, then this is great as well. So you can just say, send it right away, and well, committers should take care of it. So that's the client side. The server side looks, well, basically like a web app, right? So there are a few things you need to know about it. So we call things incidents or error reports. And then we have groups of error reports, which we call problems. And this is basically the web interface where we say, OK, we have a group of error reports, which we look very similar, so that we know, OK, we have 49 people reporting the very same issue to us. It's totally independent. The stack trace may look differently, so that's something we take care of. Actually, we have, it's pretty tough there's almost no stack trace like the other. And well, this is the fun part here in all the work, to find really the groups and really providing the right statistics to make committers aware what are the hot topics, the real issues in their code base. So from that web UI, you have the ability to go to a detailed view where you get the whole information that you have sent in your report, like on which Eclipse platform you're working, which plugins, the stack trace, etc. And you have that ability to create a bug report out of it. By just going onto the menu, say, OK, create bug report, and then you get that template in here with all the details. And as soon as you click on the OK button, that bug is created at eclipse.org and their Bugzilla to the right project, in this case, PDE UI in version 4.5. And this is a manual step the committer has to do. What's also interesting for you is there's this tiny small checkbox saying, OK, send notification emails to reporters. As soon as you left your email address and the committer activates that box here when he creates the bug report, you will get a notification saying, OK, someone is taking care of the issue that you sent. So there you really see if this is something, yeah, when the work on this issue starts and helps you to keep track of the progress. So what do we do to notify committers about the changes? So in the error reporting, we have something like a project alerts, where we can also automatically file issues directly in Bugzilla or send weekly digest emails where we inform committers about the most frequent, most recent issues and give them an idea what's currently, well, a hot topic. So what you see there is an email. This is basically how it looks like. You see that on various Eclipse mailing lists, which get these emails of the top new problems in the last 7 days, how many users actually run into that issue, and maybe if it's already assigned to a bug report, where you can get more information about that issue. Okay, so that's a very tough and fast introduction to that topic. So later today, there will be a BOF session about the automated error reporting, which will go into much more details about the duplicate detection and all these things. But for now, I think it's good enough to get a basic feeling of what we do with your data in here. But let's go to the fun facts. Errors. But before I do so, I have to make sure that please do not draw any preliminary conclusions from what you see now, because it's really tough. You just see a small picture of the data, and it's really not that easy, or it's extremely easy to take the wrong conclusions. So please consult your personal statistician before you do anything, and start blog post or whatever. Okay, please nod if you agree to that. Otherwise, I have to ask you to kindly leave the room right now. Okay, check. Well, let's start easy. How many users, mass users, do we have? Well, we have 450 simultaneous release committers every year. We have 12,000 committers. You've seen before we have 160 people contributing to Eclipse. Well, how many users do we have that actually report errors? What's your guess? 10,000? Who says more than 10,000? 50,000? 100,000? A million? Okay, 2. Okay, 1 million users reporting issues. Well, not close. No, we have 150,000 people actually reporting errors, most of them in the last 3 months, right? So the project was started in a year ago for the mass milestone releases, but especially in the last 3 months, we had a tremendous amount of people actually sending error reports. So what you see there is, that is Mars M2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the release candidates, and then with the official Mars 0 release, the number of error reporters grow every week. So this is the number of error reporters, unique error reporters per week. And this sums up about to 150,000 users. Okay, so it's a good start. And you see there's a nice trend. It's going up. So the question now is next, well, when do they actually start reporting? It would be great if they would start reporting during a milestone phase, right? So as soon as we know that there is an issue and we have time to fix it before the release, that would be lovely. What happens is, oh yes, we got some people, so 7,000 error reports during the milestones per week. And then we got Mars 1, and it's going up. So if you are interested in Neon, so I'd call it my advice, or well, please start doing the milestones, start testing there. Mars M1, what's your guess? Is it going up? Is it going down? Is it keeping the same level? It's going down, it's going up. Well, okay, you disagree to each other. Well, actually, it's, well, more users produce more data, right? So it's going up by factor 2. So it's really a big jump in error reports we received, which basically may mean anything or nothing. That's completely up to you. Basically, what it says is there are more users reporting issues, since we don't report errors twice, but people might change their workspaces, they might send the same things again, etc. So it's really tough to make any decision out of it. But at least we know that we are receiving more error reports than before. What kind of error reports do we get? So we're collecting a bunch of information. In total, we collect more than 1 million error reports, most of the time in the last 3 months. And 80% of them are logged errors, things like null pointer exceptions, etc. But there are also 20% third-party error reports, which we somehow are working closely with the Eclipse API, so issues a third-party plugin causes in Eclipse, which we did not filter out. And 3% of the error reports we get are UI freeze reports. So things in the UI where on Mac you get this funny beach ball and your UI freezes for 3 to 10 to even 60 seconds, and in worst cases, even up to 5 minutes, which is something that was odd. But how hard do the individual users suffer? How many error reports did you send? Just think about it. 1, 2, 3, 100. So we have 150,000 users reporting issues. And it's my pleasure to say that 80,000 reported 1 or 2 error reports. So, well, they suffer, but I'd say they suffer a little bit. We have 60,000 users who reported up to 50 error reports. I'd say, well, it starts suffering, right? And then we got 2,000 users who are experiencing more than 300 different errors in their Eclipse installation. Well, we're speaking about a time frame from at most 12 months, but usually 3 months. This can get annoying. But then there's this final last group, which I think they have really earned a medal for being extremely resistant to everything. So there's a strong group of 140 users which reported 300 and some of them up to 7,000 error reports. So this means literally they must do everything wrong in the Eclipse IDE and cause every null pointer, every class cast exception, whatever they find and on their way. So I should look up the email address of that guy and hire them for the Ubula testing team, because this guy would really be an extremely helpful person for improving your product quality. Right? So that's really, whew. Okay, so that guy is really suffering hard. So the suffering top 100, just to give you a feeling how this looks like, it's basically like this, right? So you have this really lonely guy over there on the top with a lot of trouble, a lot of problems, and then you got a few people with much less errors. So this is really the extreme. And what you see here in the colors, the blue ones are the normal errors, like null pointer exceptions. The red ones are third-party plugins they use, so issues which are not caused by Eclipse, but likely by third-party plugins. And then you got things like UI freezes, which are the green ones. So for instance, there are some users which just experience UI freezes the whole day, and others just experiencing null pointer exceptions, for instance. So it's extremely different what every user has, or problems every user has to face and work with, or live with. Well, that's me in there. So I'm not number one top. Even if I created that thing, it's really, there are other people suffering much more than I do, which is good, but not too good. So a little bit more on the duplicate detection to give you a feeling what we do. So we got these incoming error reports here, and they look more or less the same. Sometimes they look different. And our duty is now to group this into problems somehow, and then we assign that to the projects. And all that thing is done by some heuristics based on the stack trace that you send. So from the package class names, we just guess which bundle is involved, and then determine based on location in the stack trace who's responsible for that issue, and then send it to their project. And as I said, we had more than 1 million error reports, which have been grouped into